Right now, XRP is at 55 cents, and a technical analyst thinks that it could actually go as low as 50 cents before something big happens. And I'm going to tell you what a technical analyst thinks of the XRP token is going to happen by the end of the year. Now, this is coming from more of a technical perspective, and on this channel I cover more of the ongoing case with the SEC, which I have a little bit of information about. But we're going to talk about what XRP is doing right now and what it could do by the end of the year, as well as what other factors could affect the price. Grayscale, which is mostly known in the crypto space for having the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Last year, they were among the biggest purchasers of Bitcoin through their Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Well, they've recently been launching other trusts that have been involving other digital assets, and now they're about to launch another one. This one is going to be in the DeFi space. Yes, Grayscale is launching a trust that's going to include some of the ones that are in the decentralized finance space. So I'm going to list all 10 of the altcoins that Grayscale is launching into their new trust. And I'm going to talk a little bit about if it could have the same effect on the price that it had on Bitcoin when it launched its Bitcoin Trust. And today was a big day for Bitcoin because the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which I just talked about, today was the unlock day. Actually, yesterday was the unlock day, meaning those that bought the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, that essentially bought shares in the Grayscale Trust that held Bitcoin, they could sell them. Yesterday was the first day it was unlocked. Today, the first day of the market being open, and Bitcoin price reacted to it. I'm going to tell you what happened and what it could look like for the rest of July, since that is when the rest of the unlock period goes for. Hey everybody, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. On this channel, I'm covering the SEC versus Ripple. I also cover other cryptocurrency news and investment markets, along with personal finance and some stimulus check updates. So if any of those topics interest you, make sure you're subscribed. Click the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon so that YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. Also, if you're feeling generous, I'd really appreciate a big thumbs up. You guys have been doing a wonderful job of doing that. I'd really appreciate it if you did it on this video as well. And with that, let's jump into it. So I'm going to start off again with the Grayscale story, because the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, a lot of people think that had a large part to do with the price of Bitcoin going as high as it did over the winter, because Grayscale basically became the largest buyer of Bitcoin through their trust. Basically, accredited investors, wealthy investors could buy shares of the trust without actually buying Bitcoin and get exposure to cheaper Bitcoin through the trust. Now, the reason why the wealthy get wealthier. Well, there was a 6-month locking period where once they bought shares of that trust, they couldn't sell them for 6 months. Yesterday was the first day that the shares of the trust were unlocked. So what was going to happen to Bitcoin? Well, all those shares of Bitcoin weren't exactly going to hit the market and sell Bitcoin, because Bitcoin wasn't being bought and sold by Grayscale. It's not how it works. But those who had the shares of Grayscale could sell those shares if they so wanted to. So Bitcoin reacted a little bit. As the market opened, Bitcoin dropped about $500 to $600, which in the crypto world, that's really nothing for Bitcoin, especially considering the $30,000 drop it's had in the last couple of months. So here's what we could be looking at. By the end of July, the rest of that trust is going to be unlocked, in which the investors could sell their shares. Now, of course, what they're going to do is turn around and sell them to somebody who's going to buy their shares. So directly, it doesn't affect the price of Bitcoin, but there's a lot of misunderstandings out there, so a lot of people think it might. But in my perspective, it shouldn't really affect the price of Bitcoin at all. In fact, according to a lot of the technical analysts that I watch on a daily basis, Bitcoin and the crypto space as a whole is really primed for that second part of the Bitcoin bull run by the end of the year. Now, there's a second part to this that I want to talk about, and that again involves Grayscale. See, Grayscale is now launching yet another crypto trust, but this one specifically is only going to include altcoins that are in the DeFi space. So I'm going to list the 10 tokens that it's including in this new trust. It will include Uniswap, Aave, Compound, Curve, Market DAO, SushiSwap, Synthetics, Yearn Finance, UMA Protocol, and the Bankhorn Network token. So if you're holding any of those, or you've been looking to hold some of those, now might be another reason to jump in. Because if you think that that Grayscale had a huge part in affecting the price of Bitcoin because of their massive buying, well, if there's just as much interest from big investors as in the DeFi space as there was in Bitcoin, then we could be seeing similar price movements to what Bitcoin actually had. Now, I personally don't think it's going to be that much higher in terms of, it's not going to 10x necessarily, but then again it could, because the DeFi space has really been making the rounds in the mainstream media. Even as all the FUD and all the negativity towards Bitcoin has been continuing, a lot of the talk on the DeFi space, the decentralized finance space, has been saying about how much it's growing and about how much it's actually going more mainstream as adoption takes over. So let me know in the comments section below if you think the DeFi space is actually going to see some good price movements, specifically because of this new Grayscale DeFi trust. Let me know in the comments section below. Okay, and finally, I wanted to talk about the XRP price movements because as of today, if we're talking about specifically the case against the SEC, not a whole lot of news. At 5 p.m. today, the SEC was going to have an update on basically their discussions with Ripple in terms of the deposition with William Hinman, in terms of the permissions, in terms of the scope of the deposition, if they actually agreed on anything, or if they're going to need the judge's help. So we're going to see what came of that later today. And as some people are now speculating, such as attorney John Deaton, who's been involved in this case specifically, thinks that the judge siding on the side of Ripple in terms of letting Ripple depose William Hinman was a massive victory, not a small victory, in its fight against the SEC. Now, I've made several videos about this, and you can go in the cards. I'll link some of them. I will link some of them above. You can go check out why the deposition of William Hinman is so big, because he was such a big part in bringing the lawsuit against Ripple. They're going to get to discuss all that. So that's certainly a huge piece in the potential price movements of XRP by the end of the year. Now, one of the technical analysts on YouTube that I watch, he gave his input into what he thinks the price of XRP could be by the end of the year. And it's not some crazy massive number. I actually saw somebody on Twitter declare that XRP could see as high as $100,000 per coin within 10 years. I don't think it's getting anywhere near that personally. I think it's going to be more along the lines of a 2 to 3 figure number. But this technical analyst that I watch several times a week was talking about XRP and really looking at what it's doing and comparing it to Bitcoin. And as we said before, Bitcoin looks like it's primed and ready for that secondary run. Well, XRP technically, from a technical analysis standpoint, has been doing the same exact thing. And now that it's around 55 cents, it could actually go as low as 50 cents before starting to make its move upwards. 50 cents is kind of a really interesting number for XRP. Many people in the last several months have basically been buying the dip as much as they can afford. And some people said at 50 cents, they would leverage everything they could get their hands on to buy more XRP. Now, his analysis basically said that by the end of the year, he's thinking that XRP will probably be in the neighborhood of $3 to $8. However, potentially if Bitcoin continues to go on its massive run, he thinks that $10, $12, $15 could be likely. Now, that's kind of matches up with what other big YouTubers and influencers are now saying XRP could do. As we know, BitBoy Crypto has been making pro XRP videos lately, and even though he gets some of the technical details kind of wrong about what XRP is and how it relates to Ripple and the SEC, he's bullish on XRP and in terms of the price movement. Now, his prediction was about $15 to $35 by the end of the year. Again, this needing to match up with a Bitcoin run by the end of the year as well. A lot of the technical analysts are starting to point in this same direction. So, something to keep in mind. Now, this is one of the more conservative estimates that I've seen by the end of the year, but it's also one of the more realistic ones that I've seen. So let me know in the comments section below if you're planning on adding more XRP to your portfolio, especially if it gets down to that 50 cent level. That's all I got for today. Make sure you watch one of the 2 videos up here that YouTube says you would be interested in. Once again, thanks for watching all the way to the end and giving this video a big thumbs up. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.